It is time to clear up any confusion. The weight is set for Devin Haney's comeback fight with Jose Ramirez. In this video, I will break it down, give you guys the weights and whatnot. There seems to be confusion regarding the weight. Your boy Ego is gonna take you through it in this particular video. So stay tuned to the end. Let's go. So it is fight week. So let's start with that. It is fight week and there's a lot of boxing on this particular weekend. One fight on Friday is going to be a fight that people are going to be paying attention to because it is almost a crossroads fight where you have Jose Ramirez, who is stepping up, coming off of a loss to Arnold Barboza, and it's kind of like his last big hurrah. If he can beat Devin Haney, that'll change his whole world. But then for Devin Haney, he's coming off of a perceived loss. Now, I know some people might be confused with that language, perceived loss. The reason being is initially it was ruled a loss. Ryan Garcia defeated Devin Haney. However, Ryan later popped dirty. A test was revealed. Actually, I think 3 tests during fight week showed the presence of ostarine, which is a banned substance. As a result, the commission decided to overturn the results. So it's almost like the fight never took place. However, the fight did take place and people seen it, and you can't erase that. So it's a meaningful fight for both. A lot of people were confused about the weight. The weight will take place at a catch weight of 144 pounds, not 147. Once again, 144, not the full welterweight 147. My opinion, kind of a weird weight to have this fight take place at 144 as opposed to 147. Here's why. For starters, Devin Haney has had no problem ballooning up in his fights overnight. He's with Snack, and like his fight with Regis Prograis, he came from 135 to 140, fought a guy in Regis Prograis who had been fighting at 140 pounds, and come fight night, because the fight was in California, so they did a same day weigh-in. Devin Haney outweighed the career-long 140-pound Prograis, who actually, I remember Regis Prograis had some issues trying to keep his weight down, and he went through the length of kind of documenting a faux camp he wanted to train his body and kind of prove to himself that he could still make 140, right? So Regis Prograis, he's not the tallest guy. However, making 140 wasn't always easy for Regis Prograis, yet Devin Haney came from lightweight, gave himself a break and moved to 140 after the Lomachenko fight, and somehow he's outweighing on fight night Regis Prograis, right? He weighed like 165. So the decision to put this fight at 147 is a bit peculiar, because why not go to the full-fledged 147 if that's where you're moving up to? You know what I mean? Why go halfway from 140 to 147, go to the halfway mark basically, instead of just going to the full 147, especially since it'll be less of a weight cut for you and Jose Ramirez. So to me, I think Devin Haney's side would be more in the driver's seat than Jose Ramirez. To me, that stipulates that there are potential cobwebs, or they want to make sure there's no like lasting effects from the Ryan Garcia fight. So they decided to do this at a catchweight, right? Because I can't see any other reason why you wouldn't go up to 147. Another reason why it seems a bit bizarre to me is the world knows if Ryan gets past Rolly and Devin gets past Ramirez, Turkey wants to make Ryan Garcia versus Devin Haney 2 at 147. So why not, if you're already going to be fighting and the game plan is to obviously not lose, and you're going to fight Ryan Garcia at 147 if y'all win, then wouldn't you want to just acclimate and be prepared to make the full 147 so you have an actual full-fledged 147 fight under your belt? Do you know what I mean? Like, what's the point if you're eventually going to be the 147 as far as the Ryan Garcia fight, which is penciled in, they're saying around October of this year, then why not just get ready for the full welterweight, taking the full welterweight punch where you're weighing 147, your opponent's weighing 147, instead of this halfway mark, which is a catchweight, right? And I gotta say this, the Haneyacks and the Haneyacks content creators, they never address stuff like this. And I notice a lot of them have a grudge or don't like Tank Davis, right? They call Tank like Stank and weird names and all this stuff, say he lost to Lamont Roach. And they are critical of Tank when he fought Ryan Garcia, the fight having rehydration clause or catchweight. But now all of a sudden, they're quiet as church mice when it comes to Devin Haney and Ramirez being at a catchweight. Now all of a sudden, after complaining, they don't care about catchweights anymore. So I find that to be very hypocritical, that when it comes to Tank, a guy who's actually smaller and 5'5", 5'6", or whatever his height is, definitely not the tallest person, definitely not the biggest. He's not a weight bully. He's not somebody that is getting wins because he's way bigger than his opponents, versus people have said that to Devin Haney, right? And then now all of a sudden, Devin and Ramirez decide on a catchweight of 144, and now the Haneyacks have zero problem with the fight taking place at a catchweight. I just find that funny and hypocritical. But for those who are asking, that's where this fight will take place, at a catchweight of 144. Again, I don't know the details of why they decided on 144. It seems to me if you're going to plan to fight Ryan at 147, you would rather just go up, especially with the guy like Ramirez coming off of a loss. Because to me, Ramirez hasn't looked amazing in his recent fights. So if you can't beat him at the full 147, then I think it'll be hard to beat Ryan Garcia at the 147. So I don't see why you wouldn't take that gamble, especially when it'll spare you those extra few pounds. You have less weight to cut, and that seems to be of benefit to a guy like Ramirez with mileage on him, and then a guy like Devin Haney who he had to weigh in naked to fight Ryan Garcia and make weight. So it just makes all the sense in the world. To me, the fight should have been at the full 147. Ryan is fighting Rolly. They're both doing it at the full 147, and neither one of them are 147-pound established fighters. So it seems that Devin and Ramirez should have done that, but they, for whatever reason, did not decide to do that, and they are fighting at a catchweight. And now the Haneyacks are silent about the catchweight. But if it's Tank Davis, they're very loud and vocal about Tank having a catchweight or weight clauses with Ryan Garcia. Pay attention. So that is the latest. The fight is taking place at a catchweight, not 147.